Good evening, everybody. I call to order this meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris for Wednesday, December 15th. The time is now 6:02 p.m. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Jerfy,
Here.
Mr. Ravitz,
Here.
Mr. Mancuso,
Here.
Mrs. Wilson,
Here.
Mayor Grayzel.
Here. Both adequate and electronic notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act has been satisfied, and a statement certifying same will be executed. Mr. Carlson, resolution 228-21, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the conduct of a closed meeting as defined in the Open Public Meetings Act concerning legal and personnel matters.
Very good. Will somebody move that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. So now we're going to adjourn to closed session, and we will return here at 7 p.m. this evening. Thank you. Position she has held. Sorry. Position she's held for many years since retiring as an educator in the Morris School District. Ann, are you here tonight?
I am.
Out there? Okay. Is her camera on?
I can see her.
Very good. Okay.
Yes.
There she goes. Thanks. So I am going to read into the record a recognition that we have of Ann right here. That's going to be presented to her. I'll deliver it to your house, but let me read this into the record. Whereas Ann Rhines has been a Morris Township resident for 59 years and serves on the Board of Education for the Morris School District, where she serves as the chair of curriculum. And whereas Ann dreamt of being a teacher from a very young age, often playing school and always the role of teacher. Her teaching career began in Bronx, New York, and continued to Morris Township in 1962. Whereas Ann was a teacher in the Morris School District for 39 years and taught at Alfred Vale School, Hillcrest School, Sussex Avenue School, George Washington School, and Alexander Hamilton School. Whereas in addition to teaching, Ann created a language program for 4th and 5th grades called the SURE program and was a member of the Curriculum Council of Morris School District. And whereas Ann has been very busy in her retirement as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Morris Educational Foundation for the last 20 years, the chair of its grant committee for the last 16 years, a member of the governance committee, Colonial Nation Alumni Committee, and HR committee, as well as serving as a tutor at Freeland Middle School. And whereas, although 2021 marks the end of Ann's term on the Board of Education, her 59 years of dedication to education and students will not soon be forgotten. Whereas Ann has impacted generations of students in the Morris School District through her passion, devotion, and commitment to academics, and she will be sorely missed in the education community. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved by the mayor and members of the Township Committee on behalf of the citizens of the municipality and by individual hand and seal that we recognize and extend congratulations and best wishes to Ann Rhines. Congratulations, Ann.
Congratulations.
So happy to have you here this evening. Can I turn it over to you to say a few words to us?
Do you hear me? Everybody hear
Yes,
me?
you can.
Thank you very much. There's no place I would rather live than Morris Township. I've watched it grow over the last 60 years, and this is really home. I came to, I guess, this area in 1962 to teach, and taught until 2001 when I retired, went on the board as Jeff said, and then the Morris Educational Foundation. I loved my students. I really enjoyed all my years. It's kind of difficult to retire, but I feel it's time for younger folks to have a chance to express themselves and help our students. We have great students. I'm very proud of the Morris School District. I'm really a cheerleader, and thank you very much for recognizing me tonight. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations again, ma'am.
Yeah.
I also have with us tonight Melissa Spiata, who is president of the school board, and I wanted to invite Melissa to say a few words. as well.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for inviting me to be a tiny part of this. I feel like you've already said it really well, but as someone who has benefited firsthand from all that Anne brings to the table, I couldn't be more grateful myself. I've known Anne for many years. I actually graduated from the high school the same year as her oldest son, and she is just truly remarkable in everything that she does. And we've not heard the last from her. She still has so much passion and energy for all the things that she does. I know, Anne, she's just going to dig deeper into the Morris Educational Foundation and the other things that she does in our community, but she leaves such a huge legacy behind her. I mean, I can't say enough. She also has been such a huge mentor to me. Sometimes she calls herself like a second mother, and that is also true. But her leadership skills, her depth of knowledge, her compassion, her caring. If you've ever had coffee or lunch with her in Morristown, you'll end up running into like 2 or 3 former students of hers who just will stop her to thank her for all that she's done for them in their lives. And she's just that kind of person, similar to Mr. Holland's Opus, that character. You know, she's that kind of person who just has just left a tremendous legacy for all the lives that she's touched, and we're so grateful to her. And I still can't believe that she's leaving us, but she's not gone. She's just, you know, we're still going to have her. I'm still going to see her constantly, I'm sure. And you're absolutely the best. We appreciate you so much. And I just want to say thank you personally, because you've just done so much for me. So I thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Any comments from other council members?
Mayor, I'd just like to say it's so good to see you, Anne. I haven't seen you in quite a while, and thank you so much for all that you've done for our community. I really enjoyed reading your award. I wasn't aware of all the different jobs and capacities you've served in. So I just can't tell you how much I appreciate your contributions to our community, your service to so many different people and groups. And I just want to thank you. Thank you so much, and all the best to you and your family in the years ahead.
Okay,
Very good.
may I?
Yes, go ahead,
Hi.
Peter.
It's Peter Mancuso. You moved in a few years before we did. We're here about 53 or 54 years. But in all the time that we've been here, you've always been a peripheral part of many of our lives. And we appreciate every single thing that you've done. You've been a mentor, you've been a teacher, and you've been a person people could talk to when they needed to speak to somebody. So we'll miss you very much, but I have a funny feeling you're not going very far, my dear. God bless you. God bless you and your family.
Peter.
Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Ravitz.
Ms. Rhines, we have not had the pleasure of meeting, but I will tell you that education is something that's near and dear to me. I spent a couple of years doing some education down in Montgomery Township, where my children grew up, and it is definitely a calling. It is a wonderful, wonderful occupation, and a true investment into the future of our communities, that we invest in our students so they become the next generation of leaders and industrialists and writers and artists and whatnot. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you have done for all the students that have passed through your classroom or have had are as a result of all the great things that you've done on the board. So thank you.
Great. So, Ann, before we leave tonight, you and I are going to throw a pop quiz. See if anybody on the Township Committee can answer this question. And it's a sort of trivia quiz for anybody else out there in the public. So who knows where George Washington School is?
Oh,
I do. Mr. Quinn does. Mr. Mancuso?
Is
Go
this
ahead.
the old George
It's the
Washington
old
School?
George Washington School that
On
actually
the-
does not exist anymore.
Right, I know where that is too.
Okay, who wants to go? You go first.
Mr. Quinn.
No, you got it, but it's.
Go ahead.
No, I will.
it's on-
Is it Morris and Ford, is it?
Across from there, backs up to 287 Marsh Street.
Yes,
So-
it's no longer a school, it's
a nice-
now
It's a nice townhome community.
townhomes.
So when I, yeah, for you.
There are a
ahead,
number
Ann.
of schools that are no more. There used to be a little school called the South Street School, which is now that office building on South Street. It's like a brick building across from, like diagonally across from, I guess, Seton Hackney.
Mhm.
That was a little school. There was a school called the Hanover Avenue School. These are township schools.
Right.
Hanover Avenue School, which is long gone.
I can tell you where that was.
Not me, I don't know that one.
Hanover and Irondale.
And there was a Collinsville School.
Really?
Collinsville School
Yes.
was off Quarry Road. It housed all the fourth grades in the township. And Vale did the fifth and sixth grade. And then they went to Sussex, this township, went to Sussex for the junior high. And when the township started to grow, we had to change things because we just didn't have the room. So we went to neighborhood schools. That's when I taught at Hillcrest in the sixth grade up there. It was a California school at that time. It wasn't covered over. So if you wanted to go to the multi-purpose room or anything, you had to go outside. And so there are a number of schools that just are not there anymore. But anyway, as well as
Wow.
George Washington. George Washington was a cute little school. It really was.
Oh, my goodness. What history.
Yeah, very good. So a touch of history this evening. Thank you so much, Ann. The words of Mr. Ravitz are so true. We need more educators in our world, and especially those dedicated like you. So thank you so much that you've given to the community. And we look forward to
Thanks,
seeing you around town.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you. So our next recognition is honoring a man for more than 30 years of service. His name is Jim Lent. For those of you who don't know him, he has worked in our community as a local newspaper reporter for the Morris Newsbee and other newspapers under the Jersey Hills banner. He has been reporting on Morris Township for the last 28 years. And I am proud to read this recognition of Jim Lent into the record. And then we're going to have him come on and say a few words. In recognition and congratulations to Jim Lent. Whereas Jim Lent earned a degree in English from Fairleigh Dickinson University in Teaneck in 1976 and continued on to study comparative literature at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. And whereas Jim began his career in journalism in 1977 as a copy editor and reporter for the Somerset Spectator newspaper of Franklin Township. And whereas in August of 1987, Jim joined the New Jersey Hills Media Group and has worked as a reporter for the Burnsville News and as an editor for both the Hanover Eagle and Florham Park Eagle. And whereas in 1993, Jim became the editor of the Morris Newsbee, and in the 28 years since has been dedicated and been a renowned editor for the Morris Newsbee and the Hanover Eagle. Whereas Jim's noteworthy career has earned him several prestigious awards from the New Jersey Press Association, Suburban Newspapers of America, Society of Professional Journalists, and National Newspaper Association. And whereas Jim has been a figure in the local news for decades and has reported on news in municipal government, school districts, and other stories in East Hanover, Hanover Township, Morristown, Morris Township, Morris Plains, and Morris County, as well as congressional, state and state Senate races, state assembly and state Senate races. And whereas Jim has reached thousands of local residents through his tireless work and commitment, and he undoubtedly has left his mark on the journalism industry in New Jersey. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved by the mayor and members of the Township Committee on behalf of the citizens of our municipality by individual hand and seal that we recognize and extend congratulations and best wishes in his retirement to Jim Lent.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Jim, can we get you on video or are you still just audio?
I think I'm just audio.
Yes, go ahead. Say a few words.
I tried to put a background video of a background photo of me on a beach in Hawaii with sipping a Mai Tai and sunglasses, but I couldn't figure it out and I might have screwed the whole thing up.
No,
But
I can
thanks
see
so
you.
much, guys. I'm really impressed with what you guys have done for me. I'm not sure I deserve it, but I really think it's very special, and thanks so much.
In this day and age where people are, the media is really shrinking and people are sort of losing touch with their local communities, the service that you provided and really the dedication of being here at virtually every single meeting, which is just tremendous, has been a great service. I am an avid reader of the Newsbeat myself. I encourage people to sign up for a subscription to the Newsbeat all the time because it's really important to support our local media. And it's because of your reporting that a lot of people in our municipality has kept pace with what's going on here. So I thank you for your dedication to your work and the support that it's provided to the community. So anybody else on the Township Committee would like to say anything to Jim?
I'd like to.
Go ahead, Peter.
Jim, I probably know you for almost all the time that you've been around. I found you to be a fair and honest reporter, and I cherish that thing, that sort of sobriquet about you, especially in the times we live in, when depending on which side of the aisle you're in, we're always questioning reporting. But you've been a friend, you've been honest with me, and you've called things as you've seen them, and I feel more than sad that you won't be with us anymore, but all my best wishes on your retirement, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mancuso. You've been very kind to me.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, I have a couple comments as well.
Go ahead.
So, like Peter, I too have known Jim for many years. And as I've told him many times, his job as a local reporter is absolutely vital. And I have not always liked his coverage of us or what we're doing, but honestly, that's a good thing, because as a local reporter, your job, you don't answer to the elected officials, you answer to the public. And the job of a reporter is to provide the public with the information that's needed to understand what's going on. And Jim has done that really well over the many years that I've known you. I thank you so much for your service, and I wish you all the best in your retirement. You have earned it. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Kathy. I remember meeting you after Superstorm Sandy in the
Yes.
charging room. I think you just retired. You were, I don't know, I'm not sure how long you'd been in the township, but
No, I was actually doing my degree at that time.
you were doing your that's right, your degree.
And I needed the township to charge up my computer and my phones.
Right.
Yes, that is when we met. You're right.
Thanks.
So thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, Mr.
I'd like
Ravitz.
to add a few words. I want to say, I feel like such a newbie here in that I've only known Jim for 3 years. And in the 3 years that I have known Jim, he has been fair and honest. And thank you for whenever there was a quote of me in the newspaper, you got it right. So, and I thank you for that. Also, to echo what the mayor and Ms. Wilson and Peter have said, there is nothing more important in the news world than the local papers. Every major story that's ever broken in the United States started at a local paper. So let's give credit where credit's due. These folks bust their butt. They find the stories. They uncover the things. They're the ones that keep us honest. And thank you for that, because the free press is not the enemy of the people. The free press is the friend of the people. So thank you for all your work, Jim. And, God bless you in the next chapter of your life.
You're welcome. And I'm sorry our relationship has been mostly virtual the last couple of years.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing? I have to thank Tim Quinn, because he has been such a guy. He's been so good to me at the office. When something's going on anywhere in the county and no one knows the answer, I'll call Tim Quinn. He knows everything. And he usually does. And if he doesn't, he'll find somebody and, take time out of his incredibly busy schedule to deal with me. And I really appreciate that and all the work he's done.
Jim, this is Scott Carlson. Don't make his head any bigger, but thank you.
No, I wanted to jump in before that, Jim, and as you know, I was the press information officer for the police department from the mid 1990s, 2008 when I became chief, and then after I became administrator, I assumed that role here for the township. So you and I go way, way back, and developed a very good relationship. We both knew what we could say and what we couldn't say to one another, and I dealt with a lot of media over the years, and you certainly set the bar for ethics and integrity. We always had some very good conversations, but you never misquoted me, took anything out of context, or did anything like that, or put a slant on it that wasn't really part of the story. So excellent job by you in your reporting. And I even learned something new about you that I never knew after knowing you for over 25 years, and that you ran 9 marathons, New York City marathons.
Oh,
I ran them myself.
Actually 10, I think 10.
There was a 10 out of it.
Wow.
Those are many years ago and many pounds.
Well, I got 6 to catch up, so see what I can do.
Okay.
how
That's good.
interesting.
So we're going to have a second pop quiz of the night. Now, I'm not sure I know the answer to this one though. But let's see. What percent of elections did Jim Call write in his 28 years in Morris Township? Jim, you think you got 95?
I didn't get the last one because at the time, the other guys were winning.
No,
The one in November?
I wasn't joking about that one, but it was just tongue in cheek.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, but you've done a great job over the years. I was referring to the annual, endorsements before every election.
Oh, the endorsements, yeah. Okay.
That are made in the newspaper, which is Jim's prognostication about who's going to win, and he gets them right pretty much most of the time. So you got a good track record there as well.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. I will stop by the office to drop this off with you,
Great.
and I look forward to seeing you in person for the first time
Sounds
in a
great.
while. Yep.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, I am going to turn this next recognition over to Committeewoman Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. Shall we stand or
Sure.
shall we stand for the award?
If you'd like to, you want to read it? You want to read first?
How about maybe I'll deliver from here and then we can stand for a picture before.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, so it is my honor tonight to be here to recognize Jeff in person after all the people and groups that you've honored right here from this room over the last several years. The time has come for us to honor you. And for anyone who may not know, Jeff will not be staying with us on this committee next year in 2022. And the reason for that is that his term expires at the end of this year. And this past year, he ran for a Senate position instead. And you can't run for 2, so he will not be with us on the dais in 2022, and we will miss you. The award, I would like to read excerpts from the award. The award we have for you tonight does focus on your 9 years of service on this township committee. But as you know, Jeff and I have known each other for probably close to 20 years, I would say. And before highlighting excerpts from the award, I did want to highlight a couple of your other accomplishments that are related to, but they're outside your 9 years of service on this committee.
Mhm.
And I have to say, I did a lot of thinking about this because there's a lot of accomplishments to choose from. And I have boiled it down to 2.
Not a top 10?
No, not a top 10, not a top 10 tonight, only a top 2 that are revealing not only of your service, but also of your character and your values. So the first accomplishment I'd like to highlight is your willingness to run and rerun in spite of impossible odds. And I know you started running for this committee early in the 2000s. I don't know the exact year. That would be a good pop quiz question. I know that you ran multiple times and persisted. You were a member of the minority party at the time, and virtually, I don't think anybody did what you did, because running is hard, and running in the face of impossible odds is really hard. And I really admire you for doing that. To me, it shows a lot about your dedication to our community. It shows a lot about your courage as a person, your determination to do what's right, and especially your persistence in the face of adversity. So I really admire you for all of those qualities. And that's why I picked that particular accomplishment.
Thank you.
The other accomplishment I would highlight is your newsletter, which it goes back, I think, again, to the early 2000s.
Mhm.
I remember when I first met you in probably 2008 in the Fall Festival. That was where I myself got interested in being involved in local government. And you encouraged me to sign up for your newsletter at that time. And I did, and I've been receiving it ever since, like so many people have. I know your newsletter preceded, I believe, if I got my history right, the official municipal messenger of Morris Township. And now we actually, we have two newsletters, but your newsletter has continued over time. I consider it to be one of your signature achievements. And I know many people really appreciate the fact that you continue to send it. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of skill. And it shows a lot about the importance you place on ensuring that residents are informed. And it's also revealing of your determination to do whatever it takes to serve our community in ways that benefit our residents. So with that, I'd like to read a few excerpts from the award we have for you tonight. The first whereas highlights all the different committees that you've served on. And I'm not going to read all those. I did count 24 of them. So your experience.
Is there any that I have missed over the years?
I think we can say.
Personnel, I don't think I've ever been on personnel.
Yeah, you're right. That's not on here.
Yeah.
But everything else is on here, which speaks to your depth and breadth of experience on this governing body. Whereas during his years of service, Jeff has served as mayor for 2 years and has tirelessly and loyally performed the duties and obligations thrust upon him, and above and beyond these duties has given his utmost to the Township of Morris, to the end that all citizens have benefited from his experience, enthusiasm, and dedication. Whereas the members of the Township Committee wish to recognize your contributions to the citizens of Morris Township through your dedication to civic duty and for the giving of your time and talent without reserve. We wish to thank your family for sharing you with our community. Whereas due recognition should also be given to the stature he has attained in his public service by his exemplary personal life and public achievements. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the Morris Township Committee does hereby recognize the profound influence of Jeffrey R. Grayzel upon the quality of life in the Township of Morris, further recognizing that his absence will be a distinct loss to the residents for whom he has worked so hard, so diligently with effort and efficiency, and has won the deep respect of all who are fortunate to work with him. Finally, be it resolved that on behalf of the citizens of the Township of Morris, we extend our appreciation for years of dedicated service to Jeffrey R. Grayzel. So on behalf of our residents and the members of the Township Committee, I want to thank you for all the many different and unique ways you have served our community so well and so long. So we wish you and your family all the best in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have a second tribute. You want to do that now, Kathy, or you want to do that?
A second tribute.
We do?
We do.
Oh, that's a pop quiz for me. I didn't know about that one.
Okay, hold on one second.
Oh, yes, okay. I'm sorry. It's not on my list. I forgot about that.
I was gonna say, there's Mark's pictures on the screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mr. Jorphy was unable to be here tonight due to a personal obligation, but in honor of our recognition, he did submit some comments to be shared by video.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry I could not be in attendance for tonight's meeting due to a personal obligation, but I did just want to show my appreciation for Mayor Grayzel as he presides over the final meeting of the year. Jeff, I'd like to congratulate you on all of your hard work and accomplishments during your second term as mayor and throughout the past 3 years on the Township Committee. It's been an absolute pleasure serving with you, and I'm deeply appreciative of the opportunity to have learned from you during my first term in office. I wish you nothing but the best in your time away from the Township Committee, and I know that you will always be close by to help advise and counsel the Township Committee as it continues its work serving our residents. Jeff, thank you again for all of your work for Morris Township, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Oh,
Very nice.
thank you, Mr. Jorphy.
Thank you. So I want to thank my
Go ahead.
Township Committee members for the honor. It is much, much appreciated. I can say it's much easier being a leader when you have a great team behind you. And that's been my good fortune here in Morris Township. I've also had the good fortune of being bestowed the honor of serving in office by our residents. And I thank each and every one of those people who have supported me through the long journey of mine here and the continued support that they've shown me and the confidence in my leadership. I've been thinking about what top 10 list I might want to read this evening that I could put together to appropriately summarize my years on the governing body here. And I settled on the top 10 things that make for a successful mayor. But mayors in our town, as everybody knows, change from year to year. And Kathy was the mayor last year, and it's been announced that Mark's going to be the mayor next year. So I knew that mayors who went before me likely would not agree with everything that was on my list. And I did not want to cause any unnecessary arguments about what deserves to be on the list and what doesn't. But there was my number one item on the list, I think, and Peter can concur and you can concur since you've both been mayors before, is probably the number one thing on everybody's list. The most important thing that makes for a successful mayor is something that is very much out of the person's control, my control, your control, Peter's control. That most important thing is the dedication of employees that come to work every day to service the residents of our town. I really think that's the most important thing in being a successful mayor, because happy residents definitely make it so much easier to be the mayor. I've seen time and time again, many employees going out of their way to provide help with special requests to residents. And so tonight I really wanted to thank the 171 full-time employees and 24 part-time employees that we have here in Morris Township for doing the great job that they do day in and day out, which in turn has made my job so much easier and quite frankly, helped me be more successful in my role. So I want to thank them, thank you guys, thank the residents again. It's been an honor to serve here. I've loved it. I've dedicated myself, as you said, in your remarks, because I love this town so much. And I feel
Very clear.
so blessed to have been on this body for 9 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the Township Committee who'd like to say a few words?
May I speak, Kathy? It's Peter. I've lost
Sure.
the picture, but I can hear. Jeff, we've known each other for many, many years. We've disagreed on lots of points, but we've agreed on many more points. I've always found it to be a pleasure to work with you. I think you're very, very dedicated, and you have been dedicated to this town and all of its citizens. And I just wish you all the best wishes on your future endeavors. You've been a fair person, you've been a good friend, and you've been an associate. And when guidance was needed, you were easy to talk to, and you spoke your mind without any reservation. So I'll miss you, and I wish you and the family all the best, sir.
Thank you. And it's been a pleasure consoling each other about our New York Giants football team over all these years. So glad I've had you for that as well, Peter.
I guess I'll close the show again for public, for commentary from the day. As Jeff, I'm going to miss you. I can't thank you for all that you have done for me. I can't thank you enough. You have been my mentor throughout my new political career, and I don't think I would have had the stamina if it hadn't been for you and your encouragement. And you know, I know you're not going far, and I know you're one day we're we're going to see you again. But I just want to let you know that how much I appreciate what you have done for me and what you have done for this town, because like you, I love this town. So you know, the town has not seen the last of you. That's for sure. And
Thank
come
you.
back soon.
Thank you. We'll see what the future brings.
So with that, it's back to you, Mayor.
So with that, it's back to me. Okay.
You didn't do the presentation?
We're going to do a presentation, so just everybody can see it.
Right.
So why don't you come over here, and you want to snap a picture? Sorry, we're going to have a delay in the meeting here. Why don't you go in front and, yeah.
Go here with the
Under the wreath.
wreath,
Yeah.
flags. Make everybody else come up. We got to make you get up.
That's right. Here you go.
It's late.
Okay.
If not, we.
Still redo.
Yeah, we'll do it. DJ.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Back to you.
Back to me. So on my last meeting, on the day of Sunday, we do have a special meeting next week on the 21st, which we're going to get to in a meeting in a minute. But my last regular meeting, I really appreciate again the recognition. And sorry, it's my apologies. It's taken us 40 minutes to get through recognitions, but a lot to talk about tonight.
Yep.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have, I've lost my place here. We have ordinances. We're going to get to the public commentary in a second. I first wanted to get through ordinance 2721. I don't think we need to read that into the record. We do have to? Okay.
We need to open it up.
So we need to
open it up and request to move it to December 21st without further notice required.
Okay, so Mr. Carlson, are you out there? Danielle? Danielle,
Yeah, I'm here.
can you read 2721 into the record, please?
Hold on, I'm here. I'm just
Sure.
having
Oh,
trouble
yeah.
unmuting. You got me?
Very good. Okay.
There's
Okay.
trouble unmuting. Bear with. Sorry, switching between screens. Ordinance 27-21. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 95 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the Township of Morris. This is amending the OL 40 Office and Research Laboratory Zone, allowing for non-residential overlay district. My understanding is we're looking for a motion to carry this to December 21, 2021.
I would make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
So before we vote, Danielle, is this the proper sequence of how we should do this?
We need the time and we need that there'll be no further notice.
So we need to make clear now that we have a first and a second, so that this hearing is going to occur at a special meeting on December 21st here in Town Hall, but virtually for the public at 7 p.m.
And be carried without further
And
notice.
it's going to be carried without any further notice. This is the official notice for that meeting.
It will be published in the paper.
And we are publishing that in the paper.
Yeah,
Very
that
good.
will be in the Friday edition of the Daily Record.
Very good. Thank you. So now that we've had a first and a second, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. So I just wanted to make a comment on this ordinance. So everybody's clear on what happened. At our November 10th meeting, the Township Committee introduced a zoning ordinance that would allow the project proposed by the Red Bulls to be built on the parcels at Honeywell, as has been discussed. Public hearings were begun at a special meeting on December 2nd, and hearings were continued on December 8th. Both meetings had significant public attendance. Although this ordinance was listed on the agenda tonight, we are carrying it to December 21, as we just stated. The reason for that is that the members of the governing body did not think that we had sufficient time at our meeting this evening to finish deliberations, in addition to the regular business that we've needed to complete tonight. Therefore, we're scheduling a special meeting for December 21st at 7 p.m. that will be dedicated to thorough deliberations on the Red Bulls proposal and the zoning ordinance. No business related to the ordinance is going to occur tonight, other than what happened, just us carrying it here. And no further public comments on the ordinance are going to be accepted this evening. So again, the next hearing on the Red Bulls proposal and the related zoning ordinance will be held on Tuesday, December 21st. The Township Committee encourages public participation at all our meetings and welcomes residents to attend that special meeting on the 21st. For anybody who's interested in the deliberations on the zoning ordinance related to the Red Bulls proposal. We do recognize that it is a holiday week and not every member of the public might be able to attend. But I want to remind everybody of two things. First, that there's no more public commentary at the special meeting. It's just deliberations, dedicated to deliberations by the governing body. And second, I remind everybody that we record all our meetings here in Morris Township and make them available on our website and on our YouTube channel. So if you happen not to be able to make it on the 21st, you will be able to watch the video of our meeting a couple of days after it takes place. So I just want to make all of that clear. We really wanted to dedicate enough time for deliberations on this really, really important matter and didn't think we could conclude it this evening. That's the real reason for us pushing it to next week. Okay. So with that, I am going to now open it up to public comment and inquiry. As we do, we have two sections of public comment and inquiry on our agenda at every meeting. The first near the beginning and the second at the end after we go through ordinances and resolutions. So if you are interested in asking a question related to Morris Township or making a comment related to Morris Township, please raise your virtual hand and you will be recognized. Do we see any?
Seeing none, sir.
Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, very good. So now we have ordinances for public hearing and final consideration. We have two on the agenda tonight. Mr. Carlson, can you read 2821 into the record, please?
Bear with one moment, just getting my screen toggled. Okay, thank you. Ordinance 28-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 88, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Stopping and Standing. Section 2.10, parking time limited on certain streets, and Schedule 8, time limit parking, to amend hours for parking on Western Avenue. This will allow 15-minute parking only between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Very good. So let's open it up. Will somebody move that? And then we'll have a discussion.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a first and a second. So this ordinance, as Mr. Carlson just said, has to deals with parking on Western Avenue. We have some 15-minute spots that along Western Avenue near in the proximity of Stephanie's Deli. And those are in effect 24 hours a day, even though Stephanie's Deli is not open 24 hours a day. We also had a related ordinance last month that we passed where we removed parking on one side of Locust Street. And some residents thought it would be a hardship on the neighborhood because there would be less on-street parking for people to park overnight because we have people who need to use the street to park their cars overnight. So this is meant to alleviate some of that parking need. We're going to see how it works. But that is the reason for us doing this ordinance this evening. So with that said, I will open it up for public hearing. If anybody has any questions or comments solely related to this ordinance, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I ask we make a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
So moved.
Mr. Mayor. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the governing body? Seeing none, I'll ask.
I would like to make one comment. I think this is an interesting idea, and I'll be interested to monitor what the usage is in the future to see how many people actually take advantage of this opportunity to park there.
Good. Anybody else? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. I, Jeffrey Grayzel, Mayor, declare the ordinance adopted and finally passed, approve the same, and direct that the clerk publish proper notice thereof in the newspaper and record the ordinance in the proper place. Next ordinance on the agenda is 2921. Mr. Carlson.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance 29-21, an ordinance appropriating $300,000 available in the general capital fund balance for the removal of underground storage tank, relocation of emergency generator, and installation of above-ground storage tank, including equipment, materials, and professional services associated with the project. This ordinance is designed to accomplish the removal of the underground storage tank located at the police headquarters.
Very good. Can I have a motion to move that?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. So as we explained at the introduction last month, we have an underground fuel storage tank at police headquarters that is used to not only fuel police vehicles, but fuel all the municipal vehicles here on this side of town. That underground storage tank has degraded over the years, and DEP is requiring us to either realign it or replace it. We have opted to replace it with an above ground storage tank. So we are making this end of year appropriation in order to get that moving because the need is now. And that is why we're doing this at the end of the year now. We have the funds that have been appropriated in the capital budget, and the project needs to move forward expeditiously. So again, we were going to open this up to public comment and questioning since this is a public hearing. You have a question about ordinance 2921?
That is correct, sir.
2921, please raise your hand. Seeing none, can I ask for a motion to close public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the governing body? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Grayzel.
Yes, I, Jeffrey Grayzel, Mayor, declare the ordinance adopted and finally passed, approve the same, and direct that the clerk publish proper notice thereof in the newspaper and to record the ordinance in the proper place. Next, we have resolutions 229-21 through 247-21. We have no additional resolutions to add to the agenda coming out of. Do we have, Tim, did we have one regarding the tax appeal? Or
It's already on there, sir.
Yes,
It
sir.
is
So we did discuss in closed session a tax appeal this evening, and
yes, so we did put it on.
it's on.
It is on the 236-21.
236-21. There we go. The settlement of the James Ford real estate. That's one of the items we discussed in closed session tonight. It's already on the agenda as a resolution. So this is the block of agendas. Does anybody have any that they want to pull aside for a separate vote?
No.
Seeing none, I'll ask somebody to move 229-21 through 247-21 in a block.
I'll offer them, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. Thank you. Next on our agenda is the consent calendar. We had the resignation of Adam Smith from the Township Environmental No.
One correction on
No,
that.
yeah,
That was
it's
from
from-
Economic Development
It's Economic
Advisory
Development.
Committee.
Right, yes, we need a corrections to the consent calendar. He resigned from the Morris Township EDAC, Economic Development Advisory Committee. His term was expiring next year, but he had a conflict. We have an approval of St. Patrick's Day race, Shepherd Half Marathon, renewal of taxi licenses for several taxis, and renewal of towing service operator licenses for the coming year. So will somebody move the consent calendar as circulated?
I'll move it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So now we're up to the part of the meeting where we give standing committee reports for the benefit of the public. We have oversight committees that we call standing committees. There are two members of the governing body on each of the two standing committees. And every month I ask that people report on any new business in their committees. They don't have to report on every committee, but just the new business. And we'll go around the horn. It looks like Committeewoman Wilson looks like she might want to go first.
I get to go first. Okay, thank you. Yes, I have three standing committee reports: environment, personnel, and fire. So on the environment, I just wanted to highlight that the winter farmers market continues. It had its second week this past Sunday. It's every Sunday from 10 to 1 in the Convent Station parking lot. And I have to highlight that there are so many interesting vendors at this market. I've been to many different farmers markets in my time, and there are vendors there that I've never seen before. For example, I came across one last week, a vendor who sells hydrophonically grown lettuce, which I've never tasted before, and it was absolutely delicious.
I think it's hydroponically, not
Hydroponic.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's pH. I obviously I'm not familiar with this technique, or at least the word. Hydroponic?
Yes.
Hydrophonic,
Oh, phonic. Okay, so another pop quiz question.
whatever.
Whatever it is, I gotta say the lettuce was really delicious. And there were,
That's the important part.
right, and there were several other really interesting vendors as well. So I encourage everyone to check it out. And I'm so glad that Grow Green and Morris Township are working together on this. It's a really great partnership. Also, we are in the process, we have a couple of openings on the Environmental Commission. We are in the process of interviewing. We have a lot of people who are interested. And I will say that the model that our EC has now adopted allows for associate members, which allows us to add quite a number of people to help out with projects and committees and volunteer work. And I think it's a really great model. And I'm glad that we've added that capacity to our Environmental Commission. And finally, I just want to highlight that the end of the year report will be coming out soon. The chair, Buzz Kenny, is waiting until December 31st to finalize it. And he's expecting to add several more workshops. One of the interesting sections in the end of the year report is they've highlighted every workshop that a member of our Environmental Commission has attended over the past year, and it goes on for pages. Our Environmental Commission is really committed to building their knowledge, and they've been very active in attending webinars, among all the other things they're doing. So kudos to them for that. On personnel, we have been busy doing interviews for several of our professional positions. We are not done yet. It's looking like our interviews may continue into next week. The process that we've undertaken is new, at least for me, and it's taken more time than we anticipated. I am finding it to be very thorough and helpful and informative, and the decisions we're going to end up making are, of course, very important. So the basic update here is that our efforts are ongoing. And on a related note, although this is not a standing committee, I did want to highlight the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. Our intention was to have our appointments ready in time for tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, we have not been able to meet that deadline. We have had more applications to serve on this committee than we anticipated, and we simply have not had time to conduct all the interviews that are needed. So for anyone who's applied, please know that we've received your application and we will be in touch. At this point, with the holidays, the outreach may not be until January. And while we will not have our appointments in time for the January 5th reorganization meeting, we should be able to have them in time for our regular meeting, first regular meeting in January, which is on January 19th. So the good news here is we have a lot of interest in this committee. Clearly, this committee is filling a real need in our community. Clearly, we have a lot of residents who are eager and very well qualified to be part of this effort. So the basic update here is that our efforts to get this committee up and running are carrying over into the new year. So to be continued. Finally, our fire department update. Our fire department works closely with Santa. Each of our 5 firehouses has worked out a schedule with Santa to help him make his rounds in our town over the coming weekend. So with the help of our big fire trucks and volunteers and staff, Santa is going to be very visible all over Morris Township this coming weekend. I'm very glad that our department has such a close working relationship with Santa and was able to work out these arrangements. You guys are not laughing. I know all the kids in our town will enjoy this visit, and I want to thank everyone in our department for making this possible. And that is it for me. Thank you.
Thanks. I know my kids have been enjoying seeing Santa on the fire truck for 20 years now.
It's fun.
So
I
it's
love
fun.
it.
If you haven't experienced it before, just listen for the horn.
Yep.
Coming down your street. They go up and they go down. So as soon as you hear it, go running outside.
That's right.
It's a lot of fun. Mr. Mancuso, I'll let you go next.
Thank you. I have to agree with Mr. Wilson that the word is pronounced hydroponics. It's not spelled PH. So I looked it up just a minute ago, just to be sure.
I stand corrected. Sorry.
We
A lot of
are
schooling tonight.
A lot of education.
We are both on the personnel committee. And the good thing about what's happened is the fact that we have gone through many things and we've disagreed on several of them. And I assume that we will try to work this out in a compatible way over the next week or so. Just delighted to see that they are we finally appropriated the $300,000 to remove the underground storage tank over at police headquarters. And one other thing that was in the resolutions was renewing the membership in JIF, which that's the Joint Insurance Fund. That's for 3 years. And Mr. Quinn is very, very, very involved in that. So I just think that's a very, very positive thing as far as we're concerned. And from the police committee, supporting and feeling very strongly about this drive sober or pull over. This is the end of 2021 holiday season crackdown, and I support that fully. And I just hope someday that the funds come about, and they have at one time, but if they would come out in a greater quantity for driving while texting. I just think that's one of the great tragedies that we have on our roads. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mancuso. Mr. Ravitz.
Okay, I'll be brief. Just a couple of things, Parks and Rec related. I got the honor of kicking off the Thanksgiving turkey trot. I just wanted to highlight some of the numbers. We had over 1,950 runners, and we raised over $92,000 for the Literacy Volunteers of America and the Interfaith Food Pantry Networks. And that was almost double of their stated goal of raising $50,000. So that was really phenomenal. The other thing is right now the Parks and Rec are holding their Christmas decorations contest. There are 20 homes in the township that are participating. Please visit the Parks and Rec webpage for details. Anybody can be a judge, and it's a lot of fun. I was driving around town and I saw so many great lights and decorations that weren't part of the contest, but hopefully those folks will be a part of the contest in coming years. That's it for me on Parks and Rec. It's been a great year. We'll have some information on infrastructure and swim pools come early next year. So more to come. Back to you.
Very good. And I have two reports of my own. The first being finance. Heading into this year, we were quite unsure of how our budget would hold up, given the revenue losses that we experienced last year and the ongoing COVID epidemic. But I am pleased to report that the year-end financial health of our municipality is very strong. We have weathered the storm well, while some revenues, such as train station parking lot revenue and hotel tax receipts, are still down significantly. We had planned for that, and thankfully the rest of the budget has held up and we have met all of our primary financial targets. Second is on shared services. The joint court falls under our shared services standing committee, and the joint court held its final regular quarterly meeting last week. As previously reported, the 5-town court is losing the town of Harding to another court system, and thus we will be down to 4 towns in the joint court. Given that Harding is the smallest participant, there will be limited financial impact from their departure on the cost structure of the court. But we're sorry to see them go. But we look forward to continuing in this very successful court that has saved Morris Township hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s over the year. I think what the estimate now is we save about $250,000 probably a year, between 2 and 250.
Yes, sir. And we've been doing it for 10 years. It started off about 185 and
it's been rising. With the rising costs,
Right.
the cost savings rise. So it's been a huge success, and we're happy to be part of it. Very good. So now we're going to move on to regular committee commentary on other matters. So we'll go around the horn again, so to speak, and Kathy Wilson will let you start it off.
Okay, thank you. Recognizing Mr. Rent tonight made me think about my interest in the local press and the importance of their role. So especially local reporters, I feel passionate that the work of all reporters, especially local reporters, is vital to what I would call the civic health of our democracy. With so much news being carried on online, our newspapers, traditional newspapers, are really struggling to have enough funding to keep local reporters. So there's a trend. They're cutting back on reporter positions. They're assigning those who remain to cover bigger territories. And the result is that local news stories are not getting the coverage that's needed to keep citizens adequately informed. So I do feel passionate about the need to keep as many local reporters in place as possible. And in order for that to happen, I see a real need for newspapers to come up with a new type of business model. The old model of relying heavily on legal notices and advertising, it's becoming obsolete, especially the legal notice posting. So it is clear to me there's a problem here. The solution is not so clear. I have seen there are various groups who have held meetings looking for answers. And so far, to my knowledge, I haven't seen a viable answer in place, but I'm glad to see that there's interest being stirred in looking further at this issue. And it will be interesting to see what happens on that in the days ahead. I'd also like to say that I'm looking forward to our special meeting next Tuesday, the 21st, 7 o'clock. This is deliberations and vote by the Township Committee. As Jeff said, there will be no further input from the public. I'm glad that we did not try to squeeze that in this evening. I like the idea that we'll have plenty of time for whatever discussion and deliberation is needed. I like having the time to really digest and reflect on all the information that's been shared with us. We've gotten so many communications, emails, letters, et cetera. And I want our residents to know that we read, I read, reread, and really think deeply about everything that's that comes our way, especially the communications from residents, and also all the other information that's part of this situation and part of making a really informed decision here. So I'm glad that we'll have the full meeting, and I encourage everyone to tune in next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. And I look forward to seeing everyone then. And finally, I just wanted to say congratulations again to Jeff. This is your final meeting as mayor. You've really made a very unique contribution to the history of our town. I'll miss you on the dais, or at least on Zoom. This is my first time in the dais in quite a while here. Something tells me that you'll have plenty to keep you busy. And I just want to thank you again for all you've done and wish you and your family all the best in the future.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mancuso.
Just a couple of small items, Mr. Mayor. Again, our heartiest congratulations to Ann Rhines on the award that we gave her tonight. As I said earlier, we will miss her, but she is a tireless worker, and I know that she will resuscitate herself at one juncture, or the township will. Also to Jim Lent, my good friend, we're going to miss him and his honest reporting, etc. I'd like to mention something, Jeff, that you brought up about the finances. Tim Quinn was a great police chief, a great administrator, and he is a financial guru, coming from a person who has a little bit of expertise in that area. He is able to see and project and think through budgets and situations that may occur. And I'm very, very proud to be part of the finance committee with him as the adjunct. So all my best wishes to him. And again, to everybody, have a wonderful, happy, and Merry Christmas. Have a happy New Year. Think of all the good things that this country is about and that we are about. And God bless America, and God bless Morris Township. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mancuso. Mr. Ravitz.
Well, first, I'd like to thank the person that dresses me and Peter wearing a black sweater. I figured I was safe wearing a black sweater because you always wear a red one.
I wore it
Anyway.
out.
Anyway, good evening, and thank you to the members of the public who are in attendance tonight for participating in your local government. Government does work best when the public is both informed and engaged. For my public commentary tonight, I'd like to give you some thoughts as I finish up my first year as one of your representatives on the Township Committee. I've been in the business world for about 40 years, and in that time, I've worked with many different kinds of managers. Some have been exemplary. People who style and manner I've tried hard to emulate in my own career. And I'd like to think that they helped shape me into the type of person that I am now. I don't think I've ever worked with such a group of outstanding people as I have here in Morris Township. Many of us may not realize it, but our town runs like a well-oiled machine. We have a great group of professionals who work tirelessly and effectively on their jobs and have taken the time to make sure I know and understand matters of concern. I've had the pleasure of working with Mayor Grayzel, soon to be Mayor Giorfi, and former mayors Wilson and Mancuso. Each one of them of focus not on politics, but on the residents of the township and what's best for the residents, not only today, but into the future. I like to call that experience and vision. We've been a very cohesive group, and we truly enjoy each other's company. Each of you has been a special mentor to me and have provided me counsel that I've needed that has helped me to make the best decisions for the township throughout the year. It's a perfect example of how we're able to put aside politics and focus on the common good and promoting the general welfare. This is how Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Anton Scalia, or President Reagan and Tip O'Neill, forged deep personal bonds. Since I became a public figure, I have stated countless times that we have more in common than can ever divide us. And that is so true. I'm sorry to see my colleague, friend and mentor rolling off the Township Committee, but I also know that he's not going very far. Morris Township and public service are in his blood. Besides, he'll only be a phone call away. His leadership on the dais has been something for which we should all be proud, and I've got the feeling we've not seen the last of him. I look forward to continuing my public service under the leadership of incoming Mayor Giorfi and working closely with Tara Oliver Moore to move Morris Township forward with our mantra of continuous improvement. And finally, keep in mind that disadvantaged people aren't looking for vengeance or retribution. They are looking for equal protections under the law, and equal protections for all of us do not infringe upon or diminish the rights of any of us. Let's have some empathy for our fellow citizens and our fellow human beings. Let's not marginalize the people who have less political or economic power as some of us might now enjoy. Rather, let's face up and stand up to those who profit from our division. Have a wonderful and safe holiday, and have a happy and healthy 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Ravitz. Thank you for those kind words. So I know everybody is tired of hearing about COVID, but it is still out there. COVID cases are on the rapid rise in our state, in our community, around the country. The new variant that's come to us has increased the rates rapidly. And I just want to encourage everyone to go out and get their booster shot. If you have not yet been vaccinated, now is finally the time, right before we hit the holidays that are coming up, to finally go out and protect yourself, your family, and others around you by helping to stop the spread of the virus. There is a special family COVID clinic that is coming to Lafayette School.
Lafayette Learning Center.
Lafayette Learning Center on
Tuesday.
Tuesday the 21st from 4 to 8 p.m. That's on what street?
Hazel Street.
Hazel Street, that's correct. I couldn't remember
In the
that.
cul-de-sac.
Yep, at the end of the cul-de-sac on Hazel Street, the old Lafayette Learning Center, the old Lafayette School. It's a family clinic focused on kids aged 12 plus, but they're going to have a handful, I think, of vaccinations for 5 to 11. I urge you to try to make an appointment, but they're taking walk-ups. So if you need a booster, if your kids want to get a booster, go ahead and go to the clinic on Tuesday. I also read online, I haven't verified it, that St. Peter's Church has COVID clinics every Tuesday and Thursday through the end of the year, running, I believe, from 9:30 till 12:30 every Tuesday and Thursday, but you can check for that online as well. Again, the message here is really go out and get your booster as the cases are rising around us. Morris Township's leaf collection is still ongoing. We're almost done. We know that there are a few streets that still have leaves remaining. In fact, my street just today was cleaned up. So DPW will be getting to your street shortly if you're still waiting. Like many of you, I was shocked at the devastation that I saw in pictures from Kentucky and Illinois and other parts of our country from the tornadoes that struck earlier this week. My heart goes out to my fellow Americans who lost loved ones, who lost property, who lost their entire homes that went up into the air. In the holiday spirit, I ask all of our residents to be generous and consider supporting these people in need through a donation of any kind of your choosing. Lastly, I'd like to give an advance welcome to Tara Lubo Moore, who will be joining the governing body in January. I have known Tara for a long time, and I have the utmost confidence in her abilities. I look forward to the community getting to know her, and I look forward to seeing how she makes her mark on the governing body here. My congratulations to Mark Jorfy on becoming our next mayor. I'm happy to pass the baton to him. And as Mr. Ravitz said, I'm a phone call away from any of you if you're looking for any advice. Again, it's been an honor for me to serve everyone here in the community. It's been an honor to serve with everybody here on the dais, working with everybody here at Town Hall, especially Mr. Quinn to my left, our business administrator. It's been a true honor and experience I will cherish for a long time. And with that, I will just wish everybody a Merry Christmas to those who are celebrating, and a Happy New Year wish to everybody out there in Morris Township. Next on our agenda, we are going to move to the second, right? Next up is the second public commentary section. So if anybody from the public has any comments or questions, please raise your hands and we will be happy to recognize you. Where's Mr. O'Reilly when you need him?
He's there.
He's there?
He's there.
Nothing to say?
Miss Memmer's there.
Well, we got a lot of regulars.
Oh, there he is.
Somebody's got to say something. Come on.
His hand was up for a second, but he dropped it.
He's back. I have him back up on him, Mark, for you.
Huh?
I see Mr. O'Reilly's hand is up on my screen.
It was up and for a second, now it's off.
Yeah, I don't see him anymore. Oh,
Oh.
Marlene's hand's up now.
Miss Memmer's.
Hey, Marlene.
Marlene's coming on in a moment.
Marlene. Memmer.
Okay, I just unmuted myself. I just wanted to congratulate,
Marlene, sorry to
everyone
interrupt
who is
you.
coming.
Sorry to interrupt you. Your name and
Okay,
address for the
Marlene
record.
Memmer. Yes, I remember. Marlene Memmer, 63 Independence Way. Sorry about that.
That's
I
okay.
always do it. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I just want to say, Jeff, I agree with everything that Mr. Grayzel, sorry. I agree with everything that was said this evening, and I congratulate you on your recognition.
Thank you.
And we will miss you. And on the dais there, I want to just say I wish everyone there on the committee a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and anyone who has celebrated other holidays during the month, good wishes to them also, and look forward to visiting with everybody again next year. And thank you very much for always having very insightful and enjoyable meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene. Thank you for joining us tonight, and happy holidays to you too. Do we have anybody else?
No.
Who is that?
No.
Nobody else?
Nope.
Okay, seeing
Well,
none.
Mr. Mancuso, it's time for you to say, I move to close the public portion.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Miss Wilson.
I second that.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
All right, very good. Consideration of monthly reports. The following reports for the month of November 2021 are on file in the office of the Township Clerk and Township Administrator. That report being the tax collector's report. Will somebody move consideration of monthly reports?
So moved.
All in favor?
Second.
Very good. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And claims for payment, we'll list the bills and vouchers totaling $9,393,702.97. I'll remind everybody that we are the tax collector for the school district, for the county, and for the library, and then we dole those out in the forms of vouchers. So that's why that number is so high. Will somebody move claims for payment, please?
so moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. And lastly, I'm going to review the upcoming meeting schedule. We have a special meeting on Tuesday, December 21st, 2021 at 7 p.m. That is to discuss the one ordinance 2721 as we reviewed earlier this evening. We have a annual township reorganization meeting where the mayor and deputy mayor will be installed. That takes place on Wednesday, January 5th, 2022 at 7 p.m. And the first regular meeting of the governing body of 2022 will take place on January 19th, 2022. So with that, I am going to call for an adjournment of this meeting until Tuesday, December 21st at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now I am honored to hold the gavel one last time. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and good evening.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.